Other interesting cultural news, you have a California public library having a vending machine that gives out free Plan B, lube, condoms, and more right next to an elementary school, which also shows you the priorities of California. Now, this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, and they specifically said, quote, public library in California located next to a public elementary school has a vending machine that dispenses condoms, lube, and Plan B for free. Why is a public school using our tax dollars to offer lube, Plan B to kids without their parents' knowledge? This apparently was first reported by Beth Young Born. And let me see here. And she says, quote, okay, friends, here's a new topic besides gender, if you believe in it. What do you think about the Yolo County Library providing free condoms, lube kits, and Plan B kit to all library patrons? This includes students next door at the North Davis Elementary School and Davis High, all free and no parent permission required. Let's see, and I'm actually surprised it's going to go more viral. It only got about 118,000 views and 2,000 likes. Maybe it's just because it's California, so they all are kind of, we expect it from that state. And again, in some instances, you actually need a prescription. You need permission to get those types of, not paraphernalia, those types of accessories and Plan B. I guess sexual activity accessories and Plan B. And yet they just have a vending machine where you just toss in money and you get it instantly. So I don't know, maybe people are not just shocked anymore. The bar's been lowered so much, but let's go in the comments and find out. You have Paul Zupa saying, quote, California supplying free sex-related products to children is perverse and should be illegal, but there's no surprise coming from California where pedos run free and the government has zero morals. Parents should sue to get this machine removed. I'm getting 26 likes, which in terms of deflection and, I guess, plausible deniability from the public library, they would argue maybe it's for lower income people or it's for the public service. But there are certain rules, laws, and stipulations around certain businesses that you could put around school. Granted, every state is different, every county is different. But for example, in most areas in the United States, it's against the building code and in the county code to build, for example, a strip store, strip club right next to a public school or within a certain radius of a public school. Now, I'm certain in some areas this would be banned or it would not be permitted. But again, in California, I would guess this is 110% legal in California in that area. Now, Libercat Media TM says, quote, oh, that's not all. Notice that there is a fentanyl test in there too. COVID is default. Why are they giving these items away to innocent children? Getting 25 likes. Let's see. Texas Dog Dad says, quote, Plan B is a drug. Let's forget how improper this is for a moment. How do you freely hand out medication? How is freely handing out medication legal? Getting 31 likes, which, yeah, that's a good point. Planet of Memes says, quote, leave the kids alone, getting 19 likes. Zach Ryder says, quote, it seems inappropriate for a public school to provide such items without parental consent. Parents should be involved in such decisions regarding their children's health, and quote, getting 10 likes. Now, Kevin Meyer says, quote, which library? Plan B pills are like $50. I need to go stock up on them and sell them in my neighborhood at half the price. And quote, getting 1 like. We found it, a contrarian statement. Corey says, quote, this is somehow negative. Unquote, getting 9 likes, which, again, I think there would be a lot less scrutiny about the situation if this was 100 miles from a school or not within a close proximity of a school. And I'm sure some of my libertarian friends would say, 110%, put the machine up. Well, that being said, it's also being funded somehow, so their tax dollars being used for that. So now that I actually think about it, no, they probably won't be a fan either because the government's using your tax dollars to give away things for personal use for people. Think Harder says, quote, because tax is theft and they can use stolen tax dollars for whatever they want, you don't do nothing about it. Or you won't do nothing about it. Grammar be damned, that did get 6 likes. Now, he says you won't do nothing about it. That's a double negative, meaning you will do something about it. But nevertheless, you could vote differently. Vote for someone who wants to slash the budget and get rid of things like free vending machines. And again, on the opposite side of the political spectrum and cultural spectrum, there are some people who would probably vote for this machine, argue that it does some good in their perspective. Now, at the end of the day, when it comes to politics and culture, well, for politicians, they care more because they'll do whatever their opinions change very fluidly. But in that area of California, I would guess that more than 51% of the population, or more than 50% of the population, would believe in this type of machine. So from a political perspective, I guess it makes sense why they put it up. And again, I'm sure they will deny, like, oh, it just happens to be next door to the elementary school. We don't really want the kids doing that. Now, that being said, you could easily fix that situation or that concern by having something like a photo ID requirement, or have an instance where in order for the machine to dispense anything, you have to have an ID scan. Now, that being said, we know that California does not like IDs, but nevertheless, in terms of thinking of a solution that might make some people happy or might make a majority of people happy, maybe you have the machine, but you have that photo ID where it scans your government ID, and only then does it dispense it when it confirms your age. That might be somewhat logical, but then again, from a moral perspective and a religious perspective, a lot of people think Plan B is akin to abortion, because again, you're ending an abortion, though other people would argue it's not as invasive as the other techniques that are used, and again, it's supposed to be like the day after. So that being said, it's a very nuanced argument, some might say, although some I would argue is much more straightforward. But then today is pretty controversial. Sarah Smith also says next they'll be handing out needles for kids to inject themselves with, getting 4 likes, which some cities actually do the free needle exchange program where they'll incentivize people to continue using drugs with free needles, which, yes, your tax dollars are paying for, depending on if your area actually agrees and supports those initiatives. I believe they are specifically called something to the kin of the Clean Needle Program or something to that effect. Let's see. Serene Sofique says, quote, "Oh, honey, is this the latest plot twist in the public soap opera? Library soap opera? Tune in as taxpayer dollars play matchmaker? Plot hole, since when do books need lube?" I'm getting 2 likes. Not to brag, but I do read at least 1 book a month, and I've never needed lube for that activity. I mean, I have books behind me, and they're firmly stacked on top of each other. One would think you would not them to be all wishy-washy and just wash, with less friction coefficient, the books actually might very well just slip over and fall off to the ground. Scrolling down, you have a couple of people saying disturbing and inappropriate, getting between 0 and 3 likes. Wealth Turtle says Democrat cities are a disaster, getting 5 likes. So, pretty controversial. Again, in terms of this sample size on this post, this is from, Liv's TikTok, so more often than not, the people agreeing with her are going to be the one following her, though we did find 1 or 2 contrarian statements. I think the people in California 110% agree with this policy. I don't think they have any issues with it. If anything, they probably voted for it. So I realistically don't see anyone getting primaried or voted out of office because of this instance or this budget allocation from this district. Though, let me know in the comments. Do you think it really didn't gain much steam, but maybe it will throughout the month? And let me know. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leave us a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.